Hello and welcome back to the channel. So the time has finally come and I am moving out of my house. All right, so this whole last week I've been in the heart of the process of moving out of a house. And as you can see, it's a pretty ordinary house. There's nothing too striking about it. And I kind of like just how sort of bland and ordinary it is. When I first moved here, I wasn't that excited about it, but living here over the course of the last 4 years, I've grown attached to the spaces and definitely going to miss it. I've moved out of an apartment a couple times, but never a house before. There's a lot more things in the house than in the apartments I lived in before. So it's just a whole lot more to keep track of. It's a lot more work. It also coincided with the big snowstorm we had. Our first big moving day was right at the tail end of the bad weather. So a lot of the snow had melted and it was just really nasty and muddy and all this slush everywhere when we were moving a lot of our heavy furniture. So we were just stomping through the house, mud was getting everywhere. It was just kind of a mess. There was just all this stuff and it really got me feeling a little overwhelmed by how much stuff we actually had in the house. And relatively speaking, there wasn't even that much, but when you really see it all out on the floor, I mean, it really is a lot, and it's a lot more than I would like to have in a house. And I'm actually going to be buying a house when I move out of here, and one thing I would like to definitely work on is just kind of a minimalist lifestyle. I already do it to an extent in my own room, kind of my own space, but for the house as a whole, since I'll be owning the house, I think I really am going to go for more of a minimalist vibe. I wouldn't call myself a hardcore minimalist. I definitely like owning things, certain things that are, meaningful to me or that I find really pleasing aesthetically or just useful. But overall, I would like to keep that kind of stuff to a limit and really just not have anything in the house that I don't actually need. There's just something that gets me down about seeing so much stuff that you don't really need. And so this whole last week while I've been moving, I've just been thinking about just these clean, open, minimalist spaces. And it just seems so appealing to me. And I was kind of wondering why, and also wondering if there's any correlation between that and writing, especially the type of writing that I like. Because when I think about it, I like to write these really kind of short, minimalist sentences, and I like to only use words that count, that matter. I mean, you hear me talking all the time about condensing things down to just the words you need. And as I was talking to myself about, the whole kind of minimalist lifestyle, I just was hearing these echoes. I was like, this sounds a lot like when I'm talking about writing. And I think there definitely is a correlation there. And what I realized is that it's okay to have a sort of life aesthetic and then try to match that with your writing. Actually, I think it's a good aspiration to have. So for me, what that would look like is I want my writing to feel like the spaces that I want to inhabit. It's a little bit of an abstract idea, and I don't know if it applies to everyone, but I just noticed it as I was thinking about my appreciation for these kind of clean, open spaces, and also my tendency to write these sort of really simple, tidy sentences. And to me, it almost feels like a justification for the writing style and also a marriage of writing and the world we live in. And I find that satisfying. Again, it's something I've just started thinking about. I only really just noticed this, so I don't have a completely coherent thesis about what it actually means. I definitely am going to keep writing kind of lean sentences and reduce things down to their essentials, and then I'm definitely going to move into a new house and practice minimalism and these kind of clean, open spaces with just the things I need. And I want it to be homey. I want it to feel authentic. I don't want it to be barren and cold, but I also don't want it to just be packed with stuff that I really don't need. So that if I ever do move again, I'm not going through what I'm going through now, just being like, oh my God, what is all this stuff? Why do we have this stuff? Where did this come from? This is absolutely insane. But anyway, thanks so much for listening to me ramble about moving and writing. These are just things that are kind of swirling in my head during this kind of hectic week, kind of helping me make sense of the week and make sense of the move, and make something that seems kind of chaotic and disorganized into something a little more orderly. As I'm rambling here, I realize I don't really have a big statement to make with this video, except to say that, you should think about the spaces you live in, the spaces you inhabit. Don't just take them for granted, and think about how they tie to creativity and other things you do in the world, and see what sort of, thoughts arise from that. And that's about it. So anyway, I got to get back to moving. I've got a little more to do, almost done. Really stoked to get out of here in a way. It's funny, I really liked this house, but once you realize you have to leave, you suddenly just are ready to move on. And I'm kind of feeling that right now. So thank you so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.